Welcome to another interview in our FM Expert series. I am delighted to be joined by Teena Shouse. Hi Teena, how are you?
I'm fine. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon.
It's afternoon for me and morning for you because you are in North America. So you're in and around Kansas, Missouri.
Yes.
And I'm absolutely delighted that you could join us. So thank you for this.
Thank you.
Some of you will know of Teena, many of you will know of Teena because Teena has been in FM for about 30 years and has been hugely involved with a number of organisations, institutes that many of us are aware of. So IFMA, as a past chair and board member. I think you're also a chair on the board of directors at IFMA and also Global FM, and now I know you're also involved as president of the Facilities Management Consultants Council, I believe, FMCC, but currently president at FM Transitions and as a teacher, a speaker, a volunteer, and you're going to talk to us about realistic positivity, which I love as a heading, and I'm really, really looking forward to this. So Teena, I'm going to hand over to you.
Excellent. Well, as I said, thank you so much. It is a pleasure always to be able to speak to facility management personnel, professionals, teachers, or individuals that are just really looking at the possibility of going into facility management. I never dreamt that I was going to be a facility manager. When I was little, I didn't play facility manager. I wasn't, realigning my dollhouses and trying to do space optimization or anything like that. I actually fell into it, and I am thankful to the gentleman who saw in me that I was going to be a facility manager. One of the first things he said when he asked me why, I asked him, I said, why do you want me to be a facility manager? And he says, because you have all of the qualities that it takes to be a good facility manager. Well, at that point, I didn't know what those were. Yeah. And the first thing he did was encourage me to get more formal education, to get facility management education, and to join IFMA. Yep. And so the International Facility Management Association is just been changed my life, actually. Mm-hmm. I had the good fortune of being very active in my local chapter, and that led to being a regional representative, and that led to being the international global chair. And so, for a little girl from Wichita, Kansas, to be able to have that on her CV, and to be able to speak, and I had the privilege of going and starting chapters in Trinidad and Tobago, not starting them, but to to help to sanction them. Yeah. The Czech Republic, well, I was there on their first anniversary, and I was there on their 10th anniversary. Mm-hmm. And just to see what's happening and the growth of facility management and the respect that facility managers are gaining is just incredible. Yeah. So the first thing I want to plant in your head is the next time you go to a dinner party, and we hope that soon you can actually get out and go to a dinner party without a mask. And the next time that someone asks you what you do, instead of saying, I'm a facility manager, and having them nod and say, oh, that's nice.
Right.
I want you to say, I'm a solution architect.
Love it.
And what I mean by that is we are given problems. We are given situations, and we decide how to make the best of that, how to come out with the right solution. And I think that once you see yourself in that light, it automatically elevates your sense of importance through and I don't mean to be haughty about that.
Yeah.
I think you should be confident. And especially as a woman in facility management, when I first started, we were much the minority. Absolutely. And now it's lovely because when I teach a class or I present at a conference or work with a group, the numbers of women are growing exponentially, and it's fabulous to watch. Yeah. So I've really enjoyed that journey, and now I take that knowledge and I take those experiences and still do some international panel discussions, especially during COVID. We all have joined together to try and get through this and to make the most of it. And so that's really my job now, is to help people see through this and to also prepare themselves for the new normal.
So we were talking before we started recording about the way the world is now and the way things have changed and what that means for FM. And the thing you were saying is, things will never be the same again. So talk to us a bit more about that and some of the thoughts, and because I know you've done a number of webinars and panels and things on that.
Well, I think it's more than just the pandemic has taught us. I mean, our world changed in the United States, and I think globally, 9/11 changed the world to a new normal.
Yeah.
Now I think the pandemic will take us to another new normal. Security changed after 9/11, but I think that the new normal for facility managers it'll be a change in the way that they clean their buildings. It'll be a change in the way they plan their business continuity. I was just working on a risk management and business continuity project, and the way we're looking at it now is so much more advanced, and it's going to become a priority. When we look at the 11 competencies that IFMA says you need to be a competent facility manager, risk management and business continuity it just moved from here to here.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's not that we didn't think it was important before, but I don't know that everyone saw facility management in the C-suite of decision making when it comes to business continuity.
Yeah.
And it was kind of scary the more I found out that facility management, property managers were not in on those those planning sessions.
Yeah.
And they can be such an integral part of that, and should be an integral part of that. So I think staying educated and staying up to date is absolutely one of my strong points that I'm trying to get everybody to make. Network. I mean, and I think that networking now is even more important, and I think that we've seen the benefits of that through Zoom and through web and go-to meetings and so on and so forth. But I really think that there's also an opportunity here. One of the things that I often hear from facility managers is we never get the money we need for the projects we need. We are all constantly underfunded or having our budgets cut. And I heard it a little bit at the beginning of the pandemic. And so my response back was, this is the time to prioritize. This is the time when you need to take a look. You have the time in some instances of hitting the pause button, looking at those projects and saying, if we were to maybe twist the project this way or that, or tweak it just a bit, could it contribute to the new risk management and business continuity that needs to be more visible in this organization? Yeah. And so I think that that's really important.
Yeah.
The stature of facility management. There was a fabulous story about it. This was early in the pandemic, and in the States. Oregon was one of the states that got hit really fast, very, very hard, and it happened. A lot of the deaths happened in nursing homes, and it was the facility management engineers that sat with the directors and said, "I know what we need to do to help in this situation." And he redesigned the HVAC system.
Wow.
And then quartered off a certain area of the nursing facility and made that the COVID unit, and then changed the input out in the whole circulation process. And he was a hero.
Yeah. And you and I hearing that story are like, yeah, of course he did. Of course he was. But anyone else, the facility, who did that? Who said that? And that's the point, isn't it? Yeah?
It is.
So it is about raising profile. And how do you recommend people raise their profile? Because you like me, I mean, I do a lot of training, I talk about this a lot, but I'm really interested to get your insight in anyone watching this who's thinking, I'm loving the sound of this, but how do I do some of this stuff? How do I get people to listen to me? How do I get a seat at the table? What kind of advice do you give on that?
I mean, I think you look for the opportunities, just like this, that this is the perfect opportunity to raise that profile. Okay. The book Lean In is a really good example of, don't sit back at the table and listen and then walk out and go, gosh, I wish I'd have said this. Gosh, I wish I had this great idea. It's those missed moments that we regret. And so have the confidence that says, I am an expert in my field and I can contribute. And now not everybody is as vocal as you and I are. So not everyone's going to feel comfortable leaning in, right off the bat. So try to do it in the way that's your own style. It could be in writing. It could be in creating a proposal for making something different, making something better. But it's being brave enough. You're never going to get to play in the game if you don't raise your hand. You know, I think of sports. I'm a huge sports fan. Love my Chiefs. Go Chiefs. I don't know if you know that or not, but we're the world champion.
I didn't.
Yeah, we are. But you know, I think about that. I think about these kids, and I watch my nieces and my nephews play sports, and I think about the little kid, you know, the kids that get to play, or the kids that work for it, the kids that raise their hand and say, "Put me in, coach." And I think I would like to encourage those facility managers that are already in the profession. If you don't feel like you're engaged enough, you're the only one that's going to be able to raise your hand. When I think about, you know, one of the very first presentations I gave years and years ago was called "I Can Do That." And that's how I built my career. You know, when facility management in 1989, facility management only had 3 or 4 core competencies. We have 11 now. You know, was I proficient at all 11? No, but I said, I can do that though. I can learn that. And that's my wish for you listening to this right now is be brave enough, be strong enough. But here again, you're also going to have to be educated and be informed. And I don't like the saying, fake it till you make it. I never have liked that. Because you don't have to fake it. You're real. And you have a lot of talent. You have a lot of strengths. So be brave enough to raise your hand and say, I can do that.
I think that I agree with the fake it till you make it thing. We shouldn't be doing that. And I'm always saying to people, you know, if you don't know something, and, you know, in my 40s now, I will say on training course as the instructor, I don't know the answer to that, but I know where I can find it. Whereas when I got into FM at 23, I didn't want to say I don't know, because I would have felt like I'm putting my head above the parapet and someone will go, she shouldn't be there. She shouldn't be doing that job.
Right.
But the fake it thing, I think with some people, confidence is one of those areas where I do think sometimes, you know, I don't know, like you talked about introverts, extroverts, you know, I'm fundamentally probably an introvert, and have become an extrovert just actually through working in FM, because you have to be public facing. And I had to pretend to be confident for years and had all these tools and things that helped me become confident. And then suddenly I was like, ding, I'm confident. How did that happen? You know, so I think in knowledge, be honest if you don't know something, but sometimes with behavioral stuff, it is about just taking on a persona, you know?
It is. It's kind of interesting. I was very, very close to my grandmother, and she gave me some fantastic pearls of wisdom. And the one that I rely on more than anything else is say it with confidence and they will believe you. And it's really true. I mean, if you walk in kind of halfway, you know, but be sure you can back it up. You know, so that's always been important.
I think you're right. Understand, you know, for too long FMs have felt like they're the bleep on the bottom of somebody's shoe. They felt like all they get is problems. And I think you're right. This COVID has brought around an awful lot of awful things, but it has brought around opportunities for everyone in FM, real estate, etc., just to raise their profile and for people to really see what we do and the difference we make.
And it's really interesting because when you think about the essential workers, you think about the buildings did not go away when COVID came. The facilities, I mean, the utilities still had to be. We had to provide services, and you know, and I think when I see signs, when I go around and I see signs that say heroes work here, I wish there was a sign on every building. Because it's true, they're heroes for doing what they do.
Well, I wish I'd listened to this conversation when I was 23. It really motivated me.
That's why we're talking to the young now. You know, IFMA has engaged with a wonderful opportunity, the Global Workforce Initiative. And if you're not familiar with GWI, you need to be. The push is we have to get out and talk to kids in high school. If college is too late. Although I have had some converts, some friends of mine, some IFMA friends of mine we used to go to the universities and we would talk to the architectural students or the engineering students. And one of my dearest friends worked for properties for Hallmark cards here in Kansas City. And he was with me and he told his story to this team this group of students, and they were engineering students. And he told his story, and this young man, and he almost could have been a carbon copy of Jack. I mean, he was like tall and lanky and kind of reddish hair. And he came up and he goes, "Sir, I just have to tell you, you just saved my life." And he said, "I'm getting ready to graduate as an engineer and I hate it. But now I know I can take that and transfer that knowledge and add on some more layers of the facility management competencies, and I can be you.
Yeah.
And Jack goes, yes, you can. So,
oh, that's amazing. Imagine somebody saying that. That's an amazing thing to hear.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, and you also said before we started recording, and I'm conscious of time, so I think this is probably quite a nice way to bring us to a close. But you talked about the career being fun and fulfilling, it being a fun and fulfilling career path. So just let's finish off with you sharing a thought on that.
Okay. I mean, fun is kind of what you make it, right? And the lovely thing about facility management is that no 2 days are the same.
Yeah.
There are consistencies and there are things that should be consistent. But I mean, who else knows everything that you know and everyone you know? I used to work for Sprint. In fact, I had the privilege of working at the world, being on the construction and design and the operations team for the world headquarters for Sprint. And it was $1 billion project. We had 12,500 people on the campus, and that would then include guests. And, you know, I had oh my God, it was to take care of a beauty shop and a 72,000 square foot fitness center, yeah, and 5 food service operations, and boom, 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 all those things. So much variety and so fulfilling, and being that enabler. Yeah. You know, I was enabling them to be productive. And I think that's the other thing. Yeah. It's fun to, yeah, be an enabler. It's fun, yeah, to look at the impact that you had on making their day better. Yeah. And, you know, and I look back at that and I think, wow, if you're not fulfilled at that, you know, and when I left the campus at night, I could honestly say I made a difference. Yeah. And I think that that's what we all really want, is to make our work fulfilling and to feel like you did make a difference. And believe me, facility managers, they make a difference every day. Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to ruin that, because that's just such a perfect way to finish. So all I'm going to say is I'm just going to have this on replay, I think, whenever I need some motivation. So thank you, Teena.
Or just call me anytime.
You've been an absolute delight. Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate it. Be well.
Thank you. Thank you, Teena.
Be safe.